to...
Recording in progress.
We're going to get started here. All right. Welcome everybody to this month's Painting with Joy, the last one for 2022. Can you believe it? I can't believe that it's almost over. It's so crazy how this year, I feel like time has flown by. Now that my kids are in junior high, I thought things would be slower, but now it seems like it's going even faster. And I know people say that all the time. Time's gonna fly. I didn't realize it until like just recently. I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I can just keep them tiny, stick them in my pocket. But now they're both gonna be taller than me and we can't even share shoes anymore. We had that little sweet spot where where we could like all share the same shoes, and now we can't do it. But anyway, so next month we won't have Painting with Joy, but we'll be back in January. Same time, not this time, but our same Wednesday time. And then I'm playing around with like maybe doing 2 for those people that are in another country that would like to join. And it's way too late for you. So these are some things that I'm thinking about. So don't feel like we've forgotten you. I know some of you are, especially with the time change, you're just up so late. And I just want to say thank you. And I appreciate you for being here. All right, so we'll get started. I have my sketchbook here, and this is the photo that we'll be working off of. First of all, I'd like to warm our hands up, and because my hands are freezing. Is it cold where you are? Yeah, most people, it's cold. I'm freezing, but I'm from the Philippines, and my husband brought me to this freezing cold New York, and it's been 25 years, and I still haven't been able to adjust. I'm still so cold. But yeah, let's see here. I always love to see where everybody's from, so if you want to type where you're from, that'd be awesome. Okay, just a little bit of review from last week. I don't know if some of you were here last month. Let's see here. Susan's from Canada. Okay. Vancouver. Originally in New York. 40 degrees in New Hampshire. Oh, Loretta. Sunny California. Toronto's cold. Los Angeles. Oh, I'm so jealous. I grew up in California in the San Fernando Valley.
Wow.
And then my husband brought me to this freezing cold. Oh, Virginia, Belgium, New Zealand, Los Angeles in shorts. Carol is rubbing it in. She's in shorts. I'm just kidding. Okay, awesome. New Jersey, Texas, great. Last time some people said that they wanted to make time for more art. Claire said. And then Ingrid said abstract florals, regular art practice would be awesome. A lot of people think about 100-day project. I started my project actually in 2015 on January 1st. And what I did was, and this is a little tip if you want to do a daily practice, I did my daily practice like a week before January 1st. So you had a little bit of time to get acclimated with all your tools so that when you actually jumpstart, you're kind of already in the process. So maybe after the holidays, take a little bit of time, start drawing, painting, whatever you want to do. And yeah, all right, well, we'll get started here. I would like to, first of all, find yourself an empty page in your sketchbook. And we're gonna do a blind contour drawing first just to warm up. So don't look at your sketchbook, but just look at your photo. All right, get situated here. Get something that, if you're feeling brave, get a marker. I'm gonna use this red, I think. Okay, so grab a marker if you wish. And I hope some of you drank extra coffee. I know Pam's in UK, and I don't know what time it is over there, Pam, but I hope you had extra caffeine today, because I know it's late. All right, are we ready? Okay, so we're gonna take maybe like 3 minutes, and we're just gonna try to get what we see onto the page. I'm gonna try not to peek, and I always say that. It's 11 p.m. Okay, so Pam, you're good. Or I don't know if you're good, but you're awake, so you're here. Let's see here. So take a moment, look at what you're drawing, find a starting off point, try not to peek. I'm gonna be ending up peeking because I could see the screen, but I'm gonna try not to. All right, here we go. And begin. I'm starting right here. And try to do a continuous line. You know what I mean? Sometimes these turn out better than my regular painting, I feel like. Oh, I just peeked. Oh my gosh, don't peek. If you can, try not to. I am doing these green leaves right here. Coming back to up here. I love doing this, especially when it's like, especially when it's looking at faces or trying to do faces, because I'm not the best at faces. So anytime I can just kind of make them look a little crazy, I like to do that. I'm right here at the white flower. I just peeked again. I didn't mean to. It's hard. It's hard not to. But try to just do a continuous line, moving down to down here. And I can feel like my sketchbook is done. So that is my first attempt. I kind of like that. I don't know why. I love all the crazy lines. Then what I sometimes do is I cheat and I go back and maybe with a different color. Let's see. Like a green here. I'll just go through and add some colors. Because why not? It's your artwork. Do what you want. There's no orange here, but I'm adding it anyway, because that's the color I picked. So that's just another way of adding some fun to your photo. I mean, not photo, but blind contour. I'm going to draw the vase here. This is really great for mark making. It kind of helps you just be loose. A trick that I like to do also is try doing it with like a watercolor. So we'll do it one more time. Let's warm up one more time. We have a lot of time. All right. This time, try to do it in watercolor, but just do a blind contour. So that means pick one color that you like. I'm going to pick like a blue. I'm going to try these new paints that I bought myself for an early Christmas present. All right. And you ready? And I am going to start. I'm going to try not to look, but it's probably not going to happen, as you know. Starting with the leaves. The only tricky thing about this is like your paints might keep running out. So you'll have to pick up, but just maybe when you pick up, pick a different color. Ooh, that might be fun. I'm just like smushing paint around. And I'm kind of peeking a tiny bit because it's hard not to when it's paint. You're just getting like the essence of the flower. You don't have to make it look exact or anything, but this is just great because then the blank page is not so scary. Okay, I'm going to pick another color. Sometimes this is just what I do for practice, for my daily practice. Just do a bunch of these weird drawings that nobody will need to see, but just gets my mind going. It loosens you up to where you're able to catch ideas in your brain and be like, ooh, I like the way I did that. Makes your brain work fast so you don't overthink. Feel free to switch to a different color if you want. What are your new paints? They look fun. Oh, this is, oh, Beth, this is fun. Great. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself, Beth. Hang on one second. These are Gansei Kuretake. Margaret, how do you say it again? Kuretake.
Kuretake Gansei, and then there's also the last name Tomai.
Yes.
Say Kuretake Gansei.
Yep. Thank you, Margaret. So there's like a whole bunch. Sometimes there's little ones, and then sometimes there's bigger colors. Oops, I just made my yellow green, but that's okay. So I'm just smushing paints around. I have said to some people that have asked me about these, it's taking me a while to really learn how to use them. So if you're gonna buy a new set like this, I would suggest just getting like a little set if you want, see if you like it. Or, you know, sometimes they have them like 6 to a set. I've seen those, and they're called shadow colors. I think those are made by Kuretake. Okay, I'm gonna stop now because if not, I'm just gonna keep going. So even though I wasn't trying to do an abstract, this kind of ended up being an abstract painting coming from this reference photo. So there's no rules. You could just make it however you want and whatever you feel like. Let's see. Can you hold up what you have? I would love to see. Ooh, Liz, whoa. Gail looks great. Anna, that's a cute sketchbook you have. All right, Mona just rocked it over there. Margaret, Leslie, Pat. Oh, I love the watercolor ones, right? It's a different feel. Joey, that looks, oh, I like it in the black. Is that black? It looks really dark. I love it. Yeah, I like how the different things just look so different every, you know, like your interpretations just look so different every time. And it just makes my heart happy. Okay, so Pamela, that looks great. Awesome. All right, so I don't know if you're up to it, but we're gonna get to the actual painting. If you wanna get a new sheet, oh, it's a dark brown, Joey said. I love it. I love the colors. Sometimes I love to just add darks because it makes your painting kind of sing and get focused. So yeah, that's great. If your paint is dry, I don't know if yours is dry. Mine's not dry, but it's the sketchbook, so it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna turn it to the next page, and I don't mind if they stick together. If you don't want them to stick together, take a piece of paper and just put it in between. And I don't have a piece of paper, so I'm just gonna close it. It's your sketchbook. It's okay. All right. Some of you might not want something on. Ooh, see, it did something there. I like it. It kind of added to my other painting, which is so cool. I'm gonna keep doing that, and we'll see how it looks. If you would like, so that your other page is nice and clean, just in case you want to cut it off and put it on your fridge or in your studio, get a page that doesn't have anything on the back side. I usually end up doing both sides. So here we go. Take another sketching tool. I'm going to use this watercolor pencil. And I love using watercolor pencils because when you activate it with water, depending on how dark or how light you paint, it'll go away or it'll stay, you know, whatever. Those of you that are just joining us, at the very top of the chat, if you need a picture of the reference photo, it's at the very top there. If you want to scroll up. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to get started. And I just shook my hand a little bit just to get it warmed up. Taking my water, just dipping my pencil right in there. And I'm going to pick a place to start. I want to start down here in this pretty flower because I started up here earlier. So you're just not trying to get the whole thing. Some of you are off to a great start from the sketches that you've just been doing, the warm-ups. So I'm just getting the essence of how it looks, not making major details. Those are the two fruit pears. There's a giant leaf up here. Another leaf. You know, just whatever you don't want to forget. There's a little bit of a flower down here. As you can see, it's just very loose how I'm doing this. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. There's this fun open flower here that has teeny tiny petals. I don't know if I'll do that. I might switch that to the white one, so you don't have to feel like you have to do exactly what the reference photo is or how it looks. Feel free to change it up. That's what I always tend to do. People ask me all the time if I have photos that I use as reference. I do. I try to take a bunch of photos when we're traveling. And I also look at Pinterest. I have a Pinterest board that has a bunch of flowers, but I don't usually do the whole thing from one photo. I take a whole bunch of different flowers from different bouquets. Always fun to paint from live florals also. It's hard to come by right now here where we are because it's so cold. So this is my initial sketch. Adding a flower here. It's just super loose, as you can see. Not worrying about perfection. Just trying to get your artist hand onto the page, right? And if you want to, you can add the vase. The vase I'm just gonna keep like I did in my other sketch. Just kind of did a weird squiggle to remind myself. And sometimes I even go through and put in my darks using the watercolor pencils just so I don't forget. What else does it need? Does it need anything else? I'm not sure. As we get going, I'll see how I'm feeling. All right, I'll give you another couple minutes if you need it. I always find myself, if I give myself too much time, I start fiddling around with it and then adding things that I didn't really want to add. So sometimes it's good to just stop if you want. But keep going if you also want. It's up to you. All right. So that is my first pass to the sketch that I'll be doing. I'll give it a second to dry a little bit. And I'll be using a number 8 round brush. This is a Princeton Neptune. I like this brush. The only thing is like the tip is so pointy that sometimes I don't love it because I'm so rough when I'm painting that I like the ones that are like cheap bristles. So sometimes I like to use that as a first layer. All right, so I'm gonna get started just laying down some colors. How do you feel about putting your reference photo away and just trying to paint from your memory? Should we try that? I'm gonna put mine away, okay? So sometimes that might be good to do. I'm gonna put this away. Some of you don't have the reference photo, so you'll just have to look at mine right here, right now. Sometimes it's good to not look at the photo and just think like, okay, what do I remember just happened? How does that one thing look? All right. And then see what comes up with it. So challenge yourself, see if you can do that. I don't have the pink that I like, so I'm going to pull up another palette here and just put it right next to each other. This palette that I have here has a bunch of colors from a mission set. I'll show you how it looks. Do I have it here? Okay, when I first started painting, I bought myself a mission set, and this is what they look like. Mission watercolors, and that was 2015, and the paints are still so luscious and juicy. That's this right here. And I think the 36 set was like $50, which is a lot of money, but for really good watercolors, I found they were great. So that's the set that I have right here. I'm gonna start with this pink. Ooh, a little too pink, but that's okay. Add some water. Also, the cool thing about not looking at your reference photo right now is you'll forget some things and then you'll add some things. So that's what I'm excited about, seeing what you end up adding or taking away. I'm taking my tissue, just dabbing. I'm using an Artisa watercolor sketchbook. I find that it does take a lot of water when I'm working. It soaks up the water. I think that's why I have so many different sketchbooks, because sometimes I like that and then sometimes I don't like it. So take some time. On my website, I have all of my favorite supplies there. If you want to take a look and then make yourself a list to give to your family for the holidays, just say, this is what I want. Just give them like the whole list. That works too, right? That's what I normally say. Just give me money for art supplies. So what I did there is I just dabbed the corner just to give it a little bit of a oomph. I don't know how else to say it. A zhuzh. Here's those yellow, bright yellow. Wow, that is really yellow on your screen, or limey. I'll tone that down with a little bit of this yellow. A yellow ochre on top. So when I'm painting something white, I usually end up using gray. Like a gray or a light blue. So however you want to do. The white flower. Hope everybody's doing okay. If you have any questions, like I said, please feel free to ask. I cannot remember what color this flower was, but I think it was pink, but I'm going to turn it red. That's really juicy colors. This isn't really looking fallish, is it? With like this super bright yellow, but that's okay. I was trying to find like a good royalty-free photo of fall, and that was the closest picture that I could find. All right, now I think these flowers were, or these leaves were really dark. So I'm finding all of my greens are super dark, so maybe I'll lighten it up a little bit by picking a different green. as we move to the new year, love to know your art goals for the upcoming year. I am still trying to work on working large, and I bought myself I tend to like, my comfort zone is my sketchbook. So I could just do sketchbooks all day and not finish a painting. So I've been trying to branch out, and I got a whole bunch of these wood panels that I have not started yet, but I do have a little bit of color in them that I'll go back and use acrylics or something like that. But as you can see, they're all still pretty tiny. So they're still a tiny size, but I got myself a bigger one, which is a 12 by 12. So we'll see how that looks. Slowly I'm getting there, but going big is sometimes a challenge for me. So that's going to be my goal for the new year, is just try to go big. I think part of that too is I don't want to waste, paints and colors, and you spend a lot of, paints aren't cheap. So sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that, but sometimes you just got to go for it. I'm adding some darks from where I remember, I think it was dark. Going back through where it's dried and just adding extra little. The reason why I go back through and add a little extra paints on some of these is it excites me to go back to them. It's almost like a reminder. Make sure you add more colors or more whatever to this one. Liz says, I started daily art practice March 21st this year, and I want to continue that, especially on my 60th day, holiday for my 60th birthday. Oh, Liz, that's awesome. Yes, keep going. I feel like having a daily practice has been really helpful for me, especially in doing something that I'm scared of and just trying to show up for it every day. There's something about that. That's great, Liz. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, if you want to share what you're going to be working on this upcoming year, that'd be great. And then I'll check on you in the new year during our Painting with Joy. Like, hey, Liz, remember? Daily art practice. You're almost at a year, Liz. March 21st. That's great. Okay, I'm kind of trying to remember what the other colors are. So I'm going back through. Just adding. So the thing about putting a reference photo away is you got to use your imagination a little bit to be like, what do I want to add here? What do I want to do there? This was our vase, which I made this too dark. So I think I'm going to color my vase like this. I'll try this color first. It's interesting how when you use this paint on top of each other, it kind of tones down what's underneath. So that's a nice little discovery just now for me. Adding some more greens on the side. I always feel like if your painting, your floral painting is looking a little bit like what else should you add? Add greens. It's fun to add greens. Also, you can add like a Joey has like a dark brown. So if you have, I have a dark brown here. I think it's a burnt umber. That's fun to add on leaves too. That kind of makes it look more fall-like. So I'll do that. An idea for you is maybe make some, you know, make a few of these in your sketchbook, like a few compositions, and then use them as gift tags for people when you're doing your gifts, so they have a little something handmade. I'm so tempted to look at my reference photo, but I'm gonna try to keep going here without it, just to see if I can do it. Adding some darks to bring out the white flower a little bit more, but my stuff is still a little wet, so just going through, drying things out. Okay. I'm like such a messy painter. I'm just turning all of my paints into different colors. If you don't like that, have a palette next to you that you could use. I get impatient and I just want to go go go. So sometimes I just let it be the way it is. Just adding some gray, dirty gray leaves in the background just to fill up the page. It's so funny. I try to do fall and it always comes out brighter than what it should be. I think it's this pink flower. I made it too bright, but that's okay. I'm going to add some yellow up here just to balance things out, even though it might not be in my original photo. I'm going to turn it into like a weird flower. I love using the tissue as another painting tool. So if I paint something and it's super saturated and full of color, I love to use using the tissue as like a blotting tool just to add some more texture to what you're working on. So that's something to think about if you want. I feel like it needs more green on mine, so I'm just going to add some more green. Okay, so that is what mine looks like right now with the watercolor layers down first. Now I'm going to take my color pencils and I am just going to go through and add details. I love using Prismacolor color pencils because I feel like they write really well even on top of wet watercolors. Like I said, I don't always have the patience to wait for things to dry. So I love using these. And I know there's like pencil extenders, but I do love challenging myself to use teeny tiny pencils. This one is like the tiniest one right now that I have. So tiny. This one was from my son's pocket that I found that he was carrying around, so I guess I'm rubbing off on my children, but I love how comforting it is to have something tiny like that. I just put them in a bowl so they're ready to go at any point. Doing some loose, crazy marks around this flower. I'm not crazy about how this looks, but that's okay. It's a sketchbook. So in your sketchbook, you just play. And then maybe later I'll try it again using something different. I'm going to take a gray pencil and just go through. This was the white flower, so I'm just going to go through and add some mark making lines. I might actually, sometimes what I do is if I don't love the white or how it looks, I'll use white acrylic and just put it right on top. Then it kind of, I could do that right now. Well, let's see. Maybe we could do oil pastel. Sometimes if you put oil pastel on top of it, it kind of gets rid of those lines. But it's not working right now, so. I have this golden titanium white. And I'm just going to put a little bit of it. Just to remind myself that this was supposed to be a white flower. It's not really doing a whole lot, but that's okay. I will go back and finish that later. I'm spilling everywhere. I hope you're having fun and making a mess on your side too. Just going through and doing some mark making. Love to outline the leaves. Just gives it that look of like, hey, it's not perfect. Just having a good time. Well, that's kind of drying. I'll probably go through again and add some more to it. Like this flower right here, I feel like it needs some help. So I am going to add a little bit of orange on it just to make it stand out a little bit. I'm gonna take a peek to see if there's a, oh, I thought for some reason there was like a background color, but I guess not. So I'm gonna look at the other photo. This one has darks and blues, so maybe if you want to do a gray background on yours or blue. Let's see, what color? Maybe I'll try this lavendery dusty blue color as a background. I wish I could tell you what color this is. It just says number 61. I think it's like some kind of light blue. So I'm just going to go through.
It's ultramarine blue.
Oh, is it number 61? Ultramarine. This, okay. Thank you, Margaret. I appreciate that. I feel like these are more gouache sometimes than a regular watercolor. So it's been interesting playing around with them. I'm just adding some background color just because I'm kind of waiting for other things to dry. So when you're working, feel free to hop around. You don't have to be stuck in one corner. Now, even though this flower was not in our original photo and I just added it, I like the way that yellow is playing with that blue, so that I'll take a note of that, and then maybe in my next painting, I'll do the same thing. I'll probably try to do some kind of blue with yellow and orange, just to see. So pay attention to that. Look at your sketchbook. See what you like, what you don't like. Take notes. I'm all about taking notes. going through adding a little bit. You don't have to put, I'm not going to put the blue everywhere, but I am just going to put it on certain spots. The background. Okay, so this one leaf is losing its definition, so I'm just going to add marker or a color pencil there. Now I'm just going to add some fun oil pastels all around. If you don't have oil pastels, these Pentel ones are a great buy. I think it was $8 for this little set, and I use them I carry them with me wherever I go. I like how they feel. They're a little harder. The only thing is if you do use oil pastel on your sketchbook, just be mindful that it will be messy. So unless you spray it, you might want to put pieces of paper in between, which is what I end up doing most of the time. Just defining some more of these leaves or petals. It's almost like a negative painting. I'm just drawing the darks. Drawing the darks. And it's kind of slowly the flower is showing up, which is cool. Sometimes I'm like, oh, this is going to look so gross. I don't love it. And then little by little, things start to show up. And then I fall in love with it again. Just gonna add, I feel like this sketchbook is just like soaking everything up so fast that every time I put a color down, I feel like I have to add more on top of it just because it's like already gone so fast, if that makes any sense. Soaks it up too fast. So maybe you want to do a moleskin sketchbook. The watercolor ones are great. I'm going to now get my marker. Well, do I want to get my marker out? I think I'm going to add some more definitions to the flowers. Just because with the oil pastel. And same as before, just smushing colors around, making marks that are not perfect because you want your hand to come through. You're not trying to do a painting of, a rendition of you're not a camera is what I'm saying, I guess. So your paintings don't have to look exactly unless that's what you want to do. This type of art helps me because it helps me let go of like having things look a certain way, and it's okay that it's not exact or, maybe not, just not perfect. Okay, I feel like I should add something up here, but I don't know what, so I'm just thinking for a second. And like I said, I'm impatient sometimes, so I would probably just do marker. So here's an alcohol marker, and lines are really fun for me, so I'm probably just gonna do just some lines. It's a little trick to fill up a page without having to actually paint the whole thing. I don't know. I like doing it like that sometimes. So now I'm just throwing the kitchen sink in here again. Markers, colored pencils, paints, whatever you have or you want. Okay, so I'm going to check on what you have. This is where I'm stopping for now. Let's see. How is yours looking? If you would like to share. Is it still wet? Ooh, Loretta, what a garden. Lita, look at that. Whoa. Carol, that looks amazing. Leslie, I love the mark makings. If you're in the Facebook page, please post it there because I love seeing that. Carol, look at that. I feel like you could just put that on your wall now. It looks gorgeous. Anna, Leslie, oh my goodness. Amazing. Pat, look at that, how bright. It's so hard to just like think fall for me. I always end up throwing more colors in there. Jess and Fran. Fran, I actually love all of the whites too that you've left on there. It looks great. Look at Magda, so pretty. I love how we're all doing the same thing, but everybody's interpretation is just so different and it's magic. That's all I can say. You guys are amazing at this. Pamela looks great. Beth, is that a deep, deep purple you have going on there? I feel like it's super, yeah, I love it. Hildy, oh my goodness. We're gardening in the winter. I mean, look at that. It looks so gorgeous. Joey, you added some of that, the mark making lines that you have going on. Amazing. All right, I always love it when you all share. Susan, I can see it and then it goes away. I love those pops of pink. Beautiful. Let me see here. Thank you so much for sharing. We still have a little time, so I want to tell you and kind of get started on the next thing that we have. You could finish yours a little later. I love how some of you just like really took it and did like a whole bountiful bouquet. Mine is always confined to like a square, but I love how some of yours is like coming off the page. Amazing. Awesome job. Okay, so the next page is just for you for homework because we won't be here for a couple months. Just another little photo for you to try. Maybe you don't have to do the whole thing. You could do parts of it. You can even get started. We'll start a little bit now. I might use a different sketchbook because mine is still super wet. So if you have to get a different sketchbook, that's fine. Let's see. I must find one. Okay, use this one. Okay. Oh, this is a drawing that my niece and I did. She loves characters. I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but she loves characters. So I asked her we do like a Zoom date sometimes where she's in Virginia and we'll paint together. She loves to do characters. Let's see. So I'm going to do it on this page. And some of you are really amazing at doing like the whole thing. Like getting the whole thing on the page. I'm not really that great at that. I always like to just take little parts of a thing and then turn it into something. So if you want to do that, you can. It's just for my brain, you know. Some people are really great at seeing the whole thing. I'm more of like focused on teeny tiny square inches of things. So whatever you want to do. But I would like to get started a little bit and do like 4 squares on your sketchbook. If you would like to do squares. Some people don't need it. I like it. Oh, that is a big square. I need to make my square smaller. because I don't think I can fit. Can I fit 4? I think I can fit 4. I'll show you something, 1 second. I also love doing like even tinier squares and then getting ideas on a page like this, because you can use this as a reference for if you're out of ideas to be like, what else do I want to paint? Oh, I really like how that looks. Maybe I'll turn that into a bigger painting, you know? So make yourselves a few little thumbnails. I laminated this one because I keep it around in the studio. This was from 2020. And on the back, just the same thing, a few different studies. And you're kind of you're using the page as like a reference, like a map. So the little arrows here, I was just like, oh, this would be a good set together. Or maybe these 3 would be great together as a big painting, you know? So that's what we'll do right now. We will just do a couple of those, a few of those, in the little bit of time that we have. Leslie is going. This was so fun, Joy. I have to go make dinner, but I will look forward to the next one. Blessings, everyone. Thank you for joining us, Leslie. All right, so I'm just going to take this, and those of you that have been with me for a while now, you probably know how I like to just take little squares of things or little pieces of things and make them bigger. So I'm going to, from this photo, do 4 other little paintings. So maybe you could do the same when we are done. This is the rose. Or you can finish your painting now. I'm just moving ahead because sometimes I can't look at what I just made. I have to give it a second to breathe, and then I'll go back to it. There's a bunch of these little berry-looking flowers. So I'm adding that. This is I'm just using a colored pencil here. This is the bucket. So giving myself a little map. Very loose. Some roses. And I want to leave a little bit of air. That's what I'm trying to challenge myself to do, is to give myself some white space, because I tend to really pack a lot into a little box. So I'm trying really hard to, like right here, give myself a little bit of space in between things, just to give the mind's eye a little bit of a break. Your viewer or, you know, whoever's looking at your piece. I feel like whenever they're looking at mine, it's like overwhelming. Like, ugh, there's too much. So I'm trying to challenge myself to work a little bit more deliberately and making sure that I add some white space in between there. Okay, so now I'm going to take this little section right here and maybe make it right here. I'll use a different color. So just think in your sketchbook, it's just playtime. Maybe in the new year, think about what you would like to learn, what you'd like to do. You don't have to do it every day either. If a daily practice is daunting to you, you could do a weekly practice. Once a week, show up and paint or draw, whatever you want to do. It's just the act of actually showing up. I was going through this thing where I was having a hard time showing up in, like, you know, you're like, oh man, I don't really feel inspired. I don't feel like doing the art. I get that way. So I take this quote by Matisse on my easel that says, don't wait for inspiration. It comes while one is working. So I just have to actually show up here in the morning and just get something on the page, and then and trust that something will come together. And And I love how he's in bed. I had to put this on here. In this picture, he's in bed and he's made this really wonderful brush. And he's just like, I don't have a canvas, so I'm just going to do it on my wall. You know? Like that dedication to working, like all these pieces of paper on the floor with his paper cutouts. I'm trying to channel this because in the wintertime, I don't know, I get really like, I just want to take a nap. You know, I was telling my husband, I think it's because growing up in the Philippines and in California, I'm in warm, 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 and then the cold just kind of does something to me. So I have to actively show up and go outside, take a walk, you know, those kind of stuff. All right. So I have 2 so far here. I'll add 1 more. And these are really fun looking purple flowers, which now I've done in pink. But I'll remind myself to go back and do those. And a lot of these might not work. Like as I'm doing this one, I'm like, do I want that? Do I like that? I don't know. Not everything has to be a home run. It could just be good practice also. Lisa says, really enjoyed this. Thanks, Joy, and everyone else here. See you in the new year. Oh, yeah, right. We'll see each other in the new year, right? Oh, my gosh. I can't even believe it. Time is flying. So if you don't want to do just the same color over and over, you can add like, you know, spice it up. Add some different colors if you want. And these are just really fast. You can do these in like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Get them down on the page. Here I added a whole bunch of different colors. This might be a fun one to do in a big canvas. So that's a couple of homework assignments for you for the new year that I'll be looking for in our Facebook group or even just on Instagram if you want to tag me. Make yourself a little cheat sheet of some floral compositions. You could use this photo or you could use, you know, go online and find a bunch of different flowers you like. And these are just super fast. And tape them on your wall so that you can always remember that they're there. And if you're out of ideas and you just show up like Matisse says, you can look at your work and be like, oh, I forgot about that piece. I should do that, you know. All right. So that's this page for me. I'm going to wait to do the last one because we're running out of time here. But I wanted to see what you have come up with before we get going. I feel like this time just flies by when we're doing this. The 1 hour just goes so fast. Okay, so Liz, ooh, you got 2 in there. Awesome. That looks great. Yeah, if you want to hold yours up, that would be great. Some of you might still be wet. Leslie, look at that. Yeah, just really loose. Keep it simple. Looks great. Pamela got hers in there. Awesome. Let's see, Loretta. I love those little flowers that you're doing. Gorgeous. Joey, the little ones on the side there. Yeah. Oh, you got the buckets in there too. Cool. I love it. All right, Susan, it's a little blurry, but maybe.
I started a big one and
yeah.
It's blurry.
Oh, that's okay. Just take a picture of it and email it to me and I can post it on our... Oh, there it is. That looks great.
There we go.
Yeah. That first layer is really... I like it. You just have to add like your little mark makings in there probably, but you're well on your way for sure. Great. All right, so Jess says, thanks, Joy, and everyone. Have struggled to get to these sessions with the time difference, but I'll get more organized because today has been great. Oh, thank you, Jess. I appreciate it. Well, it is unfortunately 7 o'clock, and I do not want to keep you, but thank you so much for spending this year with me. I appreciate it. Thank you, Margaret, for saying the paint palette for me. um, thank you so much. I will see you in January. We'll be back to the normal time. And happy Thanksgiving for those of you that are celebrating Thanksgiving. And happy holidays and enjoy. Thank you, thank you. I hate going. You know this, right? I can't hang up. So
Same to you. Merry
thank
Christmas,
you.
Joy.
Oh,
Thank you
Merry
so
Christmas.
much for all this. And happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to hang up for real, okay? So, bye everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Hi everyone. I wanted to hop back on here and tell you a little bit more about Painting with Joy. Painting with Joy is a monthly paint hangout time where we gather together. I'll give you the photo ahead of time or reference topic and ideas. And then we'll gather together right now via Zoom and we will talk. You can ask me questions. We'll show each other your work. And it's just a time to just relax, just chill, hang out, and create some art together. So information about Painting with Joy will be in the description below. And yeah, definitely check it out and register if you haven't already. Hope to see you there.